Hey guys, what is up? It is Ro with another video. Welcome back, people of Earth. What is I'm about to debunk a myth. They said you couldn't get lit as a kid. Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays, I had a schedule. Fridays was a new episode of Sweet Life, Zach and Cody. Saturdays was a new episode of Hannah Montana. And Sundays was a new episode of That's So Raven. Look at that. That's a party already. And if you ask anyone what their favorite Disney Channel show or movie is, if it's for show, people would generally say Lizzie McGuire, Phil of the Future, That's So Raven. If it was a TV show, High School Musical, Camp Rock, Lemonade Mouth. And as much as I love all these films and TV shows that I just named, and even more, we will not be talking about any of those. No ma'am, not today. Today we're going to talk about an underrated, criminally underrated, to the point of jail, Disney Channel's best TV show to ever exist. My Babysitter's a Vampire. Cue in theme song. Crank it up! This is a cinematic masterpiece. It's a show that I feel has been forgotten, and only true legends remember this show. It was first a movie, then became a TV show. There's a lot to love for My Babysitter's a Vampire. Before I even get into the whole My Babysitter's a Vampire spiel, this is spoiler zone because unfortunately we were left on a damn cliffhanger. There is no season 3. Thank God for Netflix for still keeping this show on there, and if God forbid one day they decide to pull it out of Netflix, Disney Plus, you better acquire it. One of my favorite YouTubers, Honest, did a video on My Babysitter's a Vampire. We were to expect a season 3. He explained how Vanessa Morgan and Atticus Mitchell, who play Benny and Sarah in the show, expressed their interest in coming back. I'm not sure if it's the director or a team writer, came out and said that they were excited for a season 3 and they had a bunch of new storylines and ideas about the Lucifractor and what is going to happen with Ethan, Benny, and Sarah. Unfortunately, due to budget money and a bunch of other things, they just couldn't continue it and had to pull the plug. Matthew Knight has left the face of the earth. He's no longer in the acting world. I remember seeing a YouTube video talking about Matthew Knight, like, where is he? The legendary Ethan, our main character. He is now like happily married, so we live forever not knowing what happens in My Babysitter's a Vampire. What is My Babysitter's a Vampire? For people who don't even know this show, the movie came out in 2010 and it follows two best friends, Ethan and Benny, who is our main character, though I think everyone in the squad is a main character in my opinion, but our main character is Ethan, and then his best friend is Benny. Ethan is supposed to babysit his little sister Jane. Jane hears a noise outside. She tells Ethan, like, let's go check it out, and Ethan's too distracted with Benny and their activities, so she goes out by herself in the backyard. It turns out to be just an annoying neighbor hitting a hockey puck against their garage door. She tells him, like, you need to leave or I'm gonna call my brother. She turns around, hears a noise, turns back, and the annoying neighbor disappeared. She waits for a couple of seconds, and then out of nowhere, his shoe just falls off and that's it. So she starts screaming because she's really scared. Just spoiler alert, obviously vampires are invading Whitechapel. That's what this whole show is about vampires. Right when she's like screaming in the middle of their garage late at night, their parents come back from a night out and they get really upset, think that Ethan was irresponsible. He was supposed to be taking care of his sister, so as punishment, she hires a babysitter for both of them, for both Jane and Ethan. Cue in Sarah, who is going to be Ethan's babysitter, played by Vanessa Morgan. What's interesting is that Sarah wasn't initially their babysitter. Sarah has a best friend, Erica, who at first is like a geek and a nerd. She's like the president of the history club. She is super obsessed with Dusk, which is a knockoff of Twilight. The show is centered around a bunch of people being obsessed with Dusk, which is about a vampire falling in love with a human, and it's just a parody, basically, of Twilight. Erica initially picked up the babysitter job and was supposed to be Ethan's babysitter, but when she's on her way to Ethan's house in the night, she has an encounter with Sarah's vampire friends, because Sarah is a fledgling. So she was bitten by her boyfriend Jesse. To become a full-on vampire, you have to drink human blood. So she just eats animal carcasses. She broke up with Jesse after he bit her. Obviously, sucked her life out. Erica, of course, she's trying to be rebellious, trying to be cool because she doesn't want to be like the geek or nerd, which is a center of the whole high school plot. You know how Disney Channel plays on like stereotypes. So Ethan and Benny are like considered geeks and nerds. Erica decides to just ditch the babysitting job and hang out with the vampires, not knowing they're vampires. And just spoiler, yes, they bit her. Erica becomes a full-on vampire. And so does Rory, who is Ethan and Benny's friend. And Rory's supposed to be that annoying friend no one wants to hang out with, also geek, also nerd, but he's actually so fun. I love Rory, special place in my heart. He has its moments. He needs to chill out sometimes, but he's definitely a great friend and so freaking funny. That's what the movie just follows. Ethan and Benny finding out Sarah's a vampire and then just trying to stop all the vampires from evading and sucking people's bloods in Whitechapel. After that masterpiece was aired in 2010, in 2011 they decided to make it an actual TV show following Ethan, Benny, and Sarah, Erica, and Rory all in high school and just going on fun adventures, trying to defeat evil and not just vampires anymore, though that's like the main point. They go through a bunch of episodes just defeating all different types of forces of evil. What's so interesting is that Benny's grandmother, who's one of the MVPs of the show, love her, she's a witch. And so Benny learns a bunch of potions and spells. So it's actually pretty cool how everything's connected, because not only do they meet a vampire who's one of their friends, Benny also is related to people who work in that kind of world. Like they do witchcraft, they do potions, cast spells, etc. Let's just talk about what this show actually is. It is so damn entertaining. It is action-packed and it is so freaking funny. I mean, genuinely hilarious. What I really love is that this show doesn't have a laugh track. Your genuine laughter is the only thing you hear. Laugh tracks can get so damn annoying. And I understand that Disney has to have its cringe moments, like its humor is supposed to cater to a certain age audience, but trust me, My Babysitter's a Vampire is genuinely funny. Their cringe jokes aren't cringe. Yes, their cringe isn't cringe. That's possible. And My Babysitter the Vampire does the impossible. Even the cheesy jokes that you don't laugh at just make you smile. Another thing that I really love is just the damn cast. Can we talk about that? Let's first talk about Ethan and Benny because they're best friend goals. And who didn't have a crush on Ethan? Yes, I had a crush on Matthew Knight. Though, let's admit it, we had a crush on the entire freaking cast, okay? All of them. I want an Ethan and Benny in my life. They're so fun to be around. They go on many adventures. That's just amazing. I'm like, where was this when I was in high school? Why didn't I go and defeat flesh-eating vampires while having a best friend and a squad? That was squad goals. Ethan, Benny, Sarah, Erica, and Rory are squad goals. Where was that when I was young? I'm gonna mention you my favorite episodes. For season 1, these are my favorite episodes. 3 Cheers to Evil, Blood Drive, Jilly Putty, Guys and Dolls. And then the 2 I want to talk about is Jesse's Girl and Smells Like Trouble. Okay, because we are going to get into the ultimate ship that My Babysitter Vampire has. Let's be honest, Ethan and Sarah were endgame. It took us the entire 2 seasons and then we only get literally 2 episodes of them, almost a couple. So let me talk about Smells Like Trouble. This is my favorite. Benny plays around with magic and decides to make a love potion to make girls fall in love with him. And he makes Erica fall in love with him and then makes Sarah fall in love with Ethan. A bunch of girls start falling in love with them, but then their grandma warns them that the potion plays like a pendulum. When you swing it one way, it's gonna swing it the other way. The more they love you, the more they're gonna hate you. But at the end, all the girls end up hating them and wanting to murder them. And it's just so cute that they really touched on the whole Ethan and Sarah plotline there. Most episodes have like just little hints that it's gonna go somewhere, though I never really see it on Sarah's part as much. She really appreciates him as a friend, but obviously we know that Ethan has a crush on her. Had a crush on her in the movie and then in the TV show, basically pining over her the entire episodes until we get to the end of season 2. I feel like Matthew Knight and Vanessa Morgan had a really good chemistry. And in Jesse's Girl, this just proves how much, I guess you can say, Sarah really loves Ethan, both as a friend and then just really doesn't realize that it's also feelings. In Jesse's Girl, Jesse comes back and is planning to leave Whitechapel and he wants to take Sarah with him. It's the day of the dance at their high school. Jesse bites Ethan and that's going to turn Ethan into a vampire. To save Ethan, she has to suck the venom and the blood out. That will save Ethan, but unfortunately will make her into a vampire officially, and there's no going back after that. And she does. She saves him. She sacrificed basically her life for him. So for season 2, I love Jockenstein, Say You'll Be Moss Tack, Mirror Mirror, Hottie Hotep, and Siren Song. Okay, so I forgot to mention Halloween. I literally love Halloween themed episodes, and just in general, there's not one single episode of My Babysitter is a Vampire that sucks. They're all amazing. Before we get into my favorite episode to ever exist, let's just talk about the entertaining aspect of My Babysitter is a Vampire. The plot lines of each episode is so damn creative and it's so interesting. They resurrect an 1,000-year-old mummy who tries to charm Sarah and take her into the underworld. Undercover vampires trying to get blood from people, so they end up doing a fake blood drive. A zombie who loves to play hockey. A girl who is Siren from mythology, and every time she sings, she causes people to break into fights and kill each other. I just love the plot line of each of these episodes. It's so unique. Now we're into my favorite episode. Yes, season 2, Village of the Darn. Village of the Darn is about this kid troop leader who is called Val Muddrap, is trying to lure adults out of town and take over the kids and send them into basically the underworld called the Internal Playground through this red looking weird door. This one is genuinely a little frightening, okay? In the beginning scene, the music in the background is very chilling. I will say My Babysitter as a Vampire has its little scary moments for Disney Channel, especially those red eyes that those kids get. And this all has to do through a cookie drive, so Jane is involved in this. Instead of cookies, they're donuts, so it's Molios. That's what they're trying to sell. So every time they give one donut to try to adults, when they bite into the donut, they get hypnotized and just leave. No one knows where they go, but they lure the adults out of town. I'm gonna go into now like season 3 that could have been the last 2 episodes, which is the date to end all dates. So this is when Ethan finally asks Sarah out, and it's so damn cute, this scene, how they made it, because it really just embodies awkwardness. I have it memorized. Ready? Are you ready? And action. Sarah, I'd like to ask you, maybe we could go to
MC.
Though I'm not finished. During all this, in the background, you have Benny and Rory going like, yes, yes, he's gonna do it. Come on, Ethan, let's go. During all this, unfortunately, there's stuff going on in the vampire world. There's an evil force among them. I will not reveal the plot twist it was, but my mouth dropped when I found out who was the evil person who had this huge vendetta against vampires. And basically, this evil person is after the Lucifractor, and it's basically the lifeline that keeps vampires alive. Ethan and Sarah have to get on their date, but they also have to save the world. Lucifractor explodes. The leader of the Vampire Council with Rory and Erica flee Whitechapel, and an explosion happens. The Lucifractor, boom, explodes. And who was still there was Ethan, Benny, and Sarah, so we don't know if they survived. That's where it ends. It's so sad. Hello. So I forgot to mention what I would love to see in season 3 if we ever got a season 3. This is my own season 3, my own AU, alternate universe, fanfiction style. It would have been cool to see that Ethan and Benny would end up being vampires, and Ethan and Sarah live happily ever after and get married. Erica and Benny get married, and Rory just marries and lives happily ever after with whoever he's destined to be with. But they're just a squad together forever, just going through life's journeys, the ups and downs, roller coasters of life, but now as vampires. Why didn't I get that? Hello, it's me again, editing my video at night and realizing that I forgot something else. I hate when this happens, but here we go. Talking more of the cast, now I'm gonna just touch on a little on the characters. I really love how the characters are written. Ethan is just this really sweet friend that you just want to have. Benny is this hilarious friend. You need to have a good laugh, and he's actually like very smart, even though people think he's dumb because he's like a class clown. Rory has such good intentions. He can be too much sometimes, but he's such a good friend and really cares about the people around him. Sarah's just a badass. She's amazing. She cares so much about her friends. She just wants to protect him, just like Ethan. Her and Ethan share similar qualities. Erica's so headstrong. She's her own person, independent, but when the time comes, she has a huge heart, especially for the people close to her. So look at all these people. These characters are written amazingly. This is good character development, okay? For Disney Channel, that sometimes they lack plot development, character development, good storylines, good characters. Like, I'm genuinely speaking, I love this, and I think Babysitter as a Vampire is very strong on that. That's all. What I don't want to see though, any production company thinking of it, please take notes right now. I do not want a reboot, a sequel, a spinoff, unless it's the original cast. I don't want a new generation My Babysitter as a Vampire, nuh-uh. This show is just a damn comfort show. I love it so much. That's cinema at its finest. Cinema. Okay guys, that's all for today's video. If you loved it, give it a thumbs up. If you hated it, give it a thumbs down. If you liked it more than the thumbs up, press the subscribe button, subscribe to my YouTube channel. I will see you all next video.